Hey guys, and welcome back to Cultured Boys, a show where two guys just want to have a chat. I'm Nathan, and this week we have a special guest. It is friend of the channel, friend of the show, Mr. Wildeb33. How you doing, Sam?
Hello, sir. I'm good. How are you?
I am very well, thank you. Just a little behind the scenes. Pepe is away for a few weeks, so our good friend Wilder is filling in, and I really appreciate that because I didn't know what to do for 3 weeks.
Absolute pleasure. Always happy to be here whenever you'll have me.
And I'm glad to have you back. It's been a little while. How have you been since you were last on?
I'm good. I'm trying to work out how long ago it was that I last appeared on here. Good 6 months or so, maybe.
Yeah, I want to say it was, let's see, the episode came out around the same time as your 1 year stream anniversary.
No way, it was not that long ago.
Yeah, so what was that, like October?
That was 14-ish months. My 1 year stream anniversary last year was April.
Oh, maybe not your 1 year then. It might have been, oh, it was your birthday last year. That was it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's why it was October. Yeah. We released an episode for Sam's birthday, which you can go and check out.
I mean, that's still like 8 months ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. It's almost been a year since we've had you on. Like, it's kind of I feel like a disservice to you, to be honest.
No, all good. Always happy to jump in whenever you need me or join you guys whenever you need me. Just, I'm a shout away.
Well, we will definitely have you back because this topic, which will span the whole time Pepe's gone, the 3 weeks, we're talking about live action adaptations of anime properties.
Woo!
And there are some that we didn't watch because wasn't on Netflix, wasn't easy to find, yada yada. And there's also the big one that isn't out yet.
Yada yada.
Nice foreshadowing there, Sam. We will at some point in a future episode, the three of us will get together and talk about the One Piece live action, of which I will touch on lightly because I didn't watch the new trailer that came out. Have you seen that, Sam?
No, but I saw the Barati fish thing, whatever it's called. I always forget what it's called. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the restaurant. I saw the Going Merry.
Oh, well, we've seen two separate screenshots then. Yeah, it's like I just hovered over the video earlier and just like 5 minutes ago or so, and it's just like them building Sanji's restaurant ship.
Oh, okay.
So it looks pretty cool. But you know what? Again, we'll touch on it later, but I'm still absolutely terrified for it.
Yeah, same. It's got that really weird CGI look, and I don't know how else to explain it because that will come up a lot when we discuss these films and whatnot.
Oh, I've got a lot to say on One Piece itself anyway when we get to it. I don't want to dive into it right now because we'll end on it. But yeah, I've got a lot to say. And what I'm
cool.
My worries, my things I think might work, but I mean, I've spoken to Pepe separately at length about.
I'm not surprised.
say that it's a 10-episode season, for example.
Sounds about right for Netflix.
I can guarantee exactly what each of those episodes is going to be, and I'll tell you that later.
Wow. Okay. Well, look forward to that.
I've planned out the entire season in my head, and I'm pretty positive I'm correct.
Okay. A nice little teaser there. Don't forget to stay tuned for all 3 episodes. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I've played this internet game a little bit. Okay, I know how to tease. Sam knows how to tease. We got this.
Heck yeah.
Right. So yeah, we in preparation for this, we tried to watch a lot of live action stuff, and I watched most of the things available on UK Netflix.
So the thing with me as well, I watched mainly the ones that I have seen. I think you've seen a fair bit more like anime / read a bit more manga than I have. So some of the ones that I could have watched, things like, you know, the series of Cowboy Bebop.
I didn't get around to that one.
Well, that's fair.
I also haven't ever watched Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, neither have I, and Pepe always raves about it.
Everyone raves about it. So maybe it was for the best that we both hadn't seen that yet, because I feel like maybe if we had watched the live action and if it was as bad as everyone says, it might have soured us for the franchise in general.
Well, that's true.
You know, and then we wouldn't have gone and seen the anime, because I'm still kind of interested to watch the anime. It is on Netflix, so
Separate episode down the line then. I'll join you guys, and Pepe's obviously already watched it, and we'll both watch the anime and then mention our thoughts on it.
Yo, I'd be down for that. Like, I'd totally be down for that because, like, Cowboy Bebop is one of those ones everybody who's seen it has never had a bad thing to say about the anime.
Right?
They always recommend you watch it. So I'd totally be down to do an episode about it.
That would be fun.
Right. So I will quickly list off just a general list. And Sam has watched a few of the films. This is just the stuff I watched. So we put Bleach, the live action, Full Metal Alchemist, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamond is Unbreakable Chapter 1. That was not on Netflix. I bought the DVD. I've watched all of the Rurouni Kenshin films, The Beginning, Origins, Kyoto Inferno, The Legend Ends, The Final. And I've watched 4 episodes of the Mob Psycho 100 live action TV series. So there's a lot to talk about.
You've done a little bit more research than me, but not by loads. I've done a bit of a cram session in the last 3 days or so, where I have I've watched Rurouni Kenshin Origins, the 2012, the first one.
Yep, the very first film.
Yep, I finished my rewatch of Bleach today. I watched Full Metal Alchemist yesterday, and I also watched JoJo yesterday as well.
Cool.
I mean, there are others that obviously I know about and I've seen, like, I've seen...
Oh, yeah, there are loads of them.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen Death Note. In fact, I think my very first experience of Death Note was Pepe showing me the 2 Japanese live-action films before I watched the actual anime.
I think that was my first exposure to Death Note as well, because I think I watched the first one on Film 4 way back in the day, and I was like, whoa, what is this thing? That's really cool. But I will, I guess, small sort of teaser or whatever. Did you know that the actor who played Light Yagami in those Japanese films is also the guy who is Makoto Shishio in the second Rurouni Kenshin film?
Really?
Yeah, Tatsuya Fujiwara. He's also the lead actor from Battle Royale.
Really?
Apparently, yeah. He's also been in 2 of my Yakuza games. One as a mocap and you can tell it's him, and one as a voice actor. So I've seen this and heard this guy like plenty of times. It's really weird. I never would have expected that. But yeah, like Tatsuya Fujiwara, he was in all of that. Kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, good on him. So, I mean, I think that leads us into, let's talk about Rurouni Kenshin.
Okay, cool.
I mean, this is something that I watched again. A lot of my exposure to outside of the main popular anime, I guess, outside of things like Dragon Ball Z, Full Metal Alchemist, this, that, the other, a few other things. A lot of my exposure was a decade ago or so when I met Pepe.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and he was just like, oh, so you like anime, try this, oh, try that, try this, try that. So one of them was, of course, Rurouni Kenshin. And I always remember it being shorter than it actually is, and I think I did actually watch all of it, because I think we've got like 80 episodes or something altogether, right?
I don't know. I've never watched the anime. Watching all the films was my first dive into the series, because like you, I heard of the series because Pepe actually gifted me the first volume for my birthday one year.
Oh, nice.
And I never actually got around to reading it. So this whole time, he's recommended me this series for years, and I never got into it. And then I watched the films for this, and now I kind of regret not having seen any of the original source material.
That's fair. I think in the actual original anime, I got up to the end of the Makoto Shishio arc, whatever arc he was in there.
Okay.
I think that's where I got up to in it. But of course, for this, I've only managed to watch the first one. And you know what? As far as a lot of live action anime films go, I was pleasantly surprised by this one.
See, that's what I thought about all of them, because again, I watched all 5 films, I think it is.
Well, it's good to know that the rest of them hold up as well then.
Yeah, because I went on and Googled a watch order, and there's a story chronological order, or there's release order. I decided to go story chronological. So I watched the 2021 Rurouni Kenshin, The Beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I guess a prequel. I don't know if it's in the manga or the anime, but it tells you how Kenshin got to that point before he becomes a wanderer or a wandering samurai.
Yeah.
And that film was really, really cool. One thing I will say about this entire franchise of films, the choreography is pretty good. The fight scenes are pretty sick.
Oh, yeah. I really found that with Origins.
Because there's the beginning, there's a fight between Soji and Himura, or Kenshin, and like it's so well choreographed. It looks so cool from just the swordplay. It doesn't look like two guys like swinging around a stick, right? It looks like they kind of know what they're doing, but it's also, you can tell it's kind of still like anime manga-y, you know, like kind of fantastical.
Yeah, so I mean, watching Origins, I did find that, you know, a lot of it was very, very well choreographed. A lot of work went into it, you could tell, in terms of a lot of the swordplay. But then, like, in a way, and I get, obviously, it is derived from this anime and manga where, you know, you get Kenshin, like, turning himself into, like, a spinning wheel with his sword kind of thing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which, yes, they don't show, and you do have a bit of the fantastical, like, you know, him almost running on his side in a circle, slashing at people's ankles.
Yeah.
That's really cool, and I can get behind that. But I did find sometimes some of the fight scenes, to me, slightly detracted a little bit when someone would punch someone and they went flying about 20 foot, because when that first kind of iterance happened in it, it felt a bit out of place for how we'd currently seen the rest of the film so far.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I guess because the beginning was like pretty grounded, when I got to Origins, and you know, Jine, the second Batosai,
Yeah.
is he uses his one side of the soul technique, you know, where he basically just stares at someone and then they start like freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that really brought me out of it, because I was like, oh yeah, this isn't just a like wire work samurai film. This is a manga.
And at the end, when he paralyzes her lungs.
Yeah, or the fact that he's like, for some reason, got black eyes, you know, like there's no white eye, it's black and then like a blue iris, and you're just sort of like, okay,
Yeah.
I get it, bad guy. Like,
Agreed. However, on the flip side of it, Kanryu was brilliant.
oh yeah,
Just how he was in the anime and things, like just a horrible, notorious businessman with his giant gun. Oh, he played him very well.
oh that guy and his little cronies, they were so despicable, but it was so perfect.
Oh, I loved just the guys just standing around in their white suits fanning themselves.
Yeah, like that played off so well, because you instantly was like, God, I hate these guys. I absolutely hate these guys. Especially like in the film, you know, when he's like, they bring out all the food and then all the wandering samurai like that he hired, like come out of the grass in the jungle or whatever. And it's like, oh, dinner time. And he's like, oh, I hired all of these guys. They just want to eat and they work for me so that they can survive. And I'm like, you're a dick. I hate you.
Yeah. And I mean, kudos to the actor. He played him very, very well, but his jaw must have hurt after filming every single scene, because that horrendous underbite that he was doing, like, I found myself trying to mimic it while I was watching the film, just like going, oh yeah,
Oh, you must have hurt your jaw doing that.
this guy, respect to him. But he just played a filthy, dirty, horrible businessman very well.
Do you think for that underbite they did the same thing to that actor as like Rami Malek did in the Bohemian Rhapsody film? You know, like just put a fucking set of fake teeth on top of his actual teeth.
They could do, but it almost does look like he's fully pushing his chin forward.
I mean, maybe he's doing both. Maybe he's that method, but like, I can't imagine doing that for so many takes. Like, that'd be crazy.
I mean, I'm looking at a picture of him now, and it is it is very pronounced. But then it's just the bottom lip as well. His bottom lip, he's always just leaving open.
Oh,
He was great.
I will say, I've never seen the actual like illustrations of the characters, but I will agree with Sam that a lot of these characters, if I saw them, I'd be like, I could already imagine what the manga looked like. Like, I've only ever seen Kenshin, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty accurate, right? But all these other characters, like Kanryu, for example, I'm like, I could kind of see it in my head.
Yes, I'd say the one out of all the kind of main ones in the film, Jine himself is probably the most different looking.
Okay.
Because he's very, like, gaunt and big mouth with his eyes and just quite terrifying looking.
Oh, okay.
Where in the film, he was very much just like hench guy with black eyes.
Yeah.
He was still scary, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't like almost skeletal Jine is in a way. Like his face is very, very, very accentuated and pronounced to essentially just look like a figure of death in the manga.
Okay.
I would say.
Because in the film, I felt like the actor who played Jinei was like, and from lack of a better description, I was like, a bit too handsome for the villain.
Yes. He should have been a bit uglier. Jinei definitely is much uglier. Now, Hanya was an interesting one. Like, I loved how they did the mask. It worked very well. But his burns underneath, not quite as burnt as I would have expected him to be.
Okay.
But, I get it would be hard to fully disform someone's face in a real setting to make it look.
See, it's interesting you would say that, because I think this will lead me into the second film, Kyoto Inferno, because I think I've maybe seen a drawing of Makoto Shishio like once or twice before. So I sort of recognized him, right? But I actually thought he looked pretty burned up, despite it being like practical prosthetics and makeup and stuff. Like in the second film, I actually thought he looked pretty burnt up. So I wonder why in the first one he didn't. Maybe it was just a constraint of the time.
I mean, it's just like the first half side of his face is just a bit mangled. That's it. Nothing like he looks from judging from the photos that I'm looking at now of part 2. But I mean, it was still good. Now, one thing that is very, very, very different, but I appreciate why they did it, is Sagara Sonosuke, his sword. They still gave him a giant sword, but his Zanbato is like absolutely huge in the anime. Like to the point where, it's comically large.
Okay.
And, I'm pretty sure at one point Kenshin's literally like standing on the edge of it and it's about 5 feet away from Sagara himself.
Fair. Okay. That I could give a pass though,
Yeah, in fact, I'm just going to literally copy the image and shove it in the Discord to you now so you can see what I'm talking about. But that's how large his sword actually is.
Wow, okay.
So you can see why they've made it a bit smaller.
Yeah. It looks like the dude's holding a Cloud's Buster sword. Like what the fuck?
I mean, I'd say it's bigger than the Buster sword.
Yeah, I did. I'm inclined to agree with you.
Oh, there you go. Here's the image that I was talking about of Kenshin stood on it. There you go. It's that big.
Whoa.
It is that big. I'm sure you'll put this image up for everyone to see.
Yeah, I will. But what?
But I mean, the guy who played him literally is perfect.
Oh, yeah.
He looks identical to him and plays the actual full part really well. Absolutely adored mid-fight with... God, I can't even think of the guy's name who was fighting. But mid-fight, when they're fighting in the kitchen, when they just stop to have a bit of a chicken and wine break. So funny. That was so well done. I'd be like, you know what? If I was fighting, I'd want a chicken and wine break as well.
I think out of all the characters, Sonosuke was like my favorite because he is just that boisterous character. And I don't speak that much Japanese, but I love that he was almost speaking in a half delinquent style, really rolling those R's.
Mm-hmm.
And I also appreciated in Origins that Kenshin, and I only learned this because of a VTuber that debuted earlier in the year, the Kenshin also actually speaks in he ends his sentences in a proper samurai-esque way. When he ends his sentence, he says degozaru. I learned recently that that's actually supposedly how samurai would end their sentences. They would always end their sentences with some variation of gozaru.
Interesting.
Or degozario. And I couldn't unhear it. So every time I was just like, man, I really appreciate that. And I don't know how much I would have even heard that if I didn't even know that beforehand or even remotely understand the tiniest bit of Japanese.
I mean, it's good attention to detail.
It really is.
Shows that the research into, that time period and everything goes into it, which, is something that's just so great about a lot of mangakas and stuff,
Yeah, definitely. I just want to throw in a small, this is really just for me, I love that at the end of all of these films, the credits songs are always One OK Rock songs. For Origins, it was the beginning, the first ever One OK Rock song I ever heard, and probably one of my favorites. And I was not expecting it. I finished the film, I stopped paying attention, and all of a sudden it came on. I was like, hang on a second, why is one of my favorite bands on? And then it was no, it's just credits music.
Nice.
Oh, here's another great one, also from Kyoto Inferno. The actor who plays Sojiro Seta, I don't know if you recognized him, Sam, from one of the other films.
Well, I didn't see.
Ryunosuke Kamiki also played Koichi in the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond Unbreakable Chapter 1.
Oh, well, I can see that now that I've just...
Yeah, right? Because I was watching the film and I saw a face And I was like, hang on a second, that looks really familiar. Where have I seen that?
I've just seen that face.
Yeah, literally. And I couldn't figure it out. And I quickly went and Googled it to see who the actor was. And sure enough, there it was. Turns out, yeah, I did see that face about 2 days before when I was watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Too good.
I know, right?
Well, there's always going to be, similar how it's the same voices that appear everywhere. It's probably always going to be in these live action films, similar actors appearing everywhere, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, these are all probably like very prominent Japanese actors. Obviously, we don't know because we don't watch a lot of Japanese cinema or film or what, like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure these are the names that rival like Hollywood stars in Japan, for all we know.
True. Do correct us if we're wrong and you happen to know.
Yeah, but again, the second film is just more of what we spoke about before. Very well choreographed, a lot of like weird acrobatics involved, which obviously, because it's a manga anime film, a samurai wouldn't have done a fucking backflip to avoid a slash. Like, they just don't do that. And like, samurai wouldn't have done wall running like in a video game because it's not physically possible for that long. Like, Kenshin at some points like probably runs for a good like 5 to 10 seconds on a wall, and you're like, no, you put like 2 feet on there and then you like fall.
For all we know, there is a samurai that can do that somewhere.
Hey, and if there is, that'd be wicked.
Have you heard of Samurai Warriors?
I have. I think I've only ever played number 4 because it was free on PlayStation Plus at one point, but
Fair.
But like, yeah, it was.
No, I get you. They like, as films, they, obviously they've got to have elements of the manga in to keep.
Yeah.
But they would have done very well, I think, regardless, if they did remove some of the fantastical elements from it and just kept it very like standard feudal samurais.
Yeah, if it was accurate like sword fighting, I'd still be into that.
Oh yeah, very much so.
But at the same time, it does make it stand out a little more and make you realize their source material by watching like Kenshin run up a wall, slash at a guy with the back, like essentially the back of a sword, because by that point he's already using his back blade, and then watching like 5 guys fall through a wall even though he hit one of them into 4 others, and you're like, in real life that wouldn't have happened. But that's what you love martial arts films from back in the day, because the wire work is just cool.
Yeah, very much so.
Watching all these films, because the Makoto Shishio arc is actually split into 2 films.
Oh, okay.
So 2 and 3 are actually that whole part, because at the end of 2 is when Kenshin and Kaoru get kicked off the boat, and at the end of the film, spoilers I guess for a 2014 film, don't complain at me, his master finds him on the beach, and then the start of the 3rd film is him learning the final form of Hiten Mitsurugi Ryu, the style that he uses.
Yep.
And like the thing is, my notes are always looking at them. They're not very helpful because it's like small tidbits like this actor was in this film and this thing. And then it was like, mostly I've just put that fight was cool. This fight was also really cool. Good choreography, really cool fights. Like,
at least you have notes. My notes are basically just Google image tabs of the different characters so I can remember their names.
Fair.
Mainly for this because, I feel I'm much more familiar with Bleach, Fullmetal Alchemist, JoJo, and the others.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I say, I very much enjoyed it. It was good. I mean, with Origins, it was a little bit of a slow start, but then after 25, 30 minutes and it really got into it, then it was...
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I feel like a lot of at least the first 2, as in the first 2 I watched, the beginning and Origins both start quite slow. Whereas like Kyoto Inferno, The Legend Ends, the final, like stuff kicks off like pretty quickly, like within the first like 5 to 10 minutes.
Well, they're a bit shorter as well, right? So they
true.
They can afford to do that. Like, it was, 2.25 hours, I think, Origins.
Yeah.
Which, by all intents and purposes, these days, it's not particularly long for a film.
No, it's about, that's pretty standard for a film.
Yeah, but, sometimes pacing can be brought a bit forward.
True. I had one gripe with the 3rd film, and I don't think it's with the film itself, it was just more the source material, is the way Shishio went out. Like, do you know how that happens?
Not in live action films. I mean, I can't even remember from the manga, to be honest. Enlighten me.
Okay, it's a 4-on-1 fight, right? So it's Aoshi, Saito, the policeman, Kenshin, and Sanosuke fighting against Shishio on the boat. And then it just gets to a point where all of a sudden Shishio like gets turned on and he's starting to lose. And then he basically like puts down the girl, his courtesan, and then sets himself on fire. And that's how he goes out, even though before that he was like setting people on fire and being like, oh, do you know what the worst thing about being burned alive is? And then he just goes out by his own hand in flames. And I was kind of like, that's kind of lame. I didn't like that.
Maybe it's just more he didn't want to give anyone else the satisfaction of killing him, so he'll just kill himself.
Yeah, and I get that, but at the same time, I was just like, I don't know, like maybe because by that point I'd watched 2 whole films. And I was like, for 2 films to have this one same bad guy, I'm like, I could have gone out in a better blaze of glory, let's say, like pun intended.
No, yeah, I get you.
Like, he took on 4 guys, 4 really good fighters as well. So, like, I just thought, it would have been cooler if, like, he died during the battle. Because, I mean, okay, Sanosuke is a street fighter, so unless he's punching the guy, which he wasn't because he's getting his ass kicked, and Kenshin's not going to kill him, but, like, maybe Saito or Aoshi, 2 guys who are willing to kill people, and you see slicing people down, like, the whole time. One of them could have done it, but no, fire instead. Okay.
He survived fire before, but not this time.
I know, right? And he had that cool sword. Like, because in the film, he was, like, swinging it around, and every now and again, it, like, set on fire, like, at least the tip of the blade. I was like, that was fucking cool. I think that's, like, how he set himself on fire. I looked away from the screen for, like, a second, and next thing I know, he's on fire. But that was also just, like, that was my biggest gripe. I watched the last film, the final, 2021, the final, Kenshin, the final. It was really cool to see characters returning because like Sojiro Seta comes back. The other guy from the 10 Blades, I forget his name. It's the what's his name? He's the guy that Kenshin beats at the Kyoto temple when the swordsmith's son gives him the true backblade.
Oh god, it's been too long.
Yeah, I know. He basically he was the sword thief / hunter, and he had like he'd taken all that swordsmith's other blades and were killing people with it. Either way, basically he comes back as well. And the main antag of the whole film is a callback to the very beginning of the franchise. It is Kenshin's first love's little brother, Enishi, who comes back and is the final like villain.
That's quite cool.
Yeah, like that was a really nice callback and like a nice sort of like bow to tie up everything, because it's like Kenshin's full circle moment. Tomoe, who he fell in love with in the first one, like way at the beginning, the reason why he doesn't kill anymore, the reason why he has that second scar to make it across, and then her little brother, who he saw way back then, like in the world of the films, they were like, oh, it's been like 14 years or something. But it was just really cool to have that like full circle moment.
Yeah, I do appreciate when they do that. It's just, yeah, you're just making me want to watch the remaining ones I haven't seen, to be honest.
I highly recommend them.
Because I did enjoy the first one, so, as long as we got them on Netflix, then absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I watched them all, and I do actually highly recommend to you, Sam, and to anyone who's even remotely interested. These are actually really good live-action adaptations, as Sam has already said. Like, normally they've got a bad rap because quite a few of the adaptations of like games, manga and stuff, like they're pretty bad, but like all of these Kenshin films are actually really solid. I had no issue with the actual films. I quite enjoyed them, and I've never seen any Kenshin before now, and I purposely went and watched all of them because I was really interested.
Do you reckon you'd watch the manga or the anime? Sorry, now.
I don't know if I'll watch the anime, but I might go and read the manga.
Might go and read it. Fair.
Because I want to find that first volume that Pepe gave me, and I'll probably read from there. But I am quite interested in the series, and I'm kind of bummed out I didn't listen to Pepe sooner, and he's going to get a bit smug about that. So I'll leave it in the edit, but just Pepe, don't get too on your high horse there, mate.
Brill.
Hey guys, this is the end of the first part. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, hit that bell button so you get notified, and check us out on podcast platforms. We've got the links in the description below, and we'll also have all of Sam's links in the description at the top. Thanks for checking it out, guys, and we'll catch you for part 2 next week.